NATO exercise Steadfast Defender is a demonstration of unity and determination to protect each other, said Supreme Allied Commander Europe Christopher Cavoli. According to the scenario, NATO maneuvers involve repelling an attack in the event of an offensive on one of the members of the North Atlantic Alliance. During the exercises, it is planned to conduct at least 500 air combat operations. In recent months, calls for the civilian population to prepare for war with Russia have been heard in the bloc frequently. For example, one of them was heard from the chair of the NATO Military Committee, Rob Bauer, on January 18th.
So we look at Russia as a threat for NATO, and therefore the plans that we have developed and that have been approved in Vilnius are to counter the threat. Amongst that is Russia. So the fact that we have to be ready for an attack from Russia is not news in itself, because that is what our plans are for. We are a defensive alliance, and we should be ready, and we are ready. But we are improving.
On January 19th, the Baltic countries, Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania, signed an agreement to create a common defense zone along the borders with Russia and Belarus, with the main goal of strengthening the security of the region. The infrastructure will include bunker networks, strongholds and distribution lines. For example, as Postimees writes, Estonia will build approximately 600 concrete bunkers to repel potential Russian aggression on its eastern border.
Russia's war in Ukraine has shown that in addition to equipment, ammunition and manpower, we also need physical defense facilities on the border to protect Estonia from the first meter. Hannu Pevkur, Minister of Defense of Estonia. Statements on the department's website.
Analysts at the American Institute for the Study of War note that Russian President Putin has recently stepped up initiatives that could provoke a future escalation against the Baltic countries. In particular, one of the potential scenarios is to create information conditions for possible Russian aggression against the Baltic countries and other NATO member states under the guise of protecting Russian compatriots abroad. At the same time, according to some experts, a Russian attack on the bloc countries is impossible in the foreseeable future because the combat potential of its army was lost in the war against Ukraine, and it will take years to restore it.
Latvia puts about 1% of our GDP into support for Ukraine, militarily, economically, humanitarily, in all ways. We will continue this. If all countries put in 1% of GDP, I would say the job would be done, because our economy is relatively small. Larger economies, that 1% would be completely of a different scale of order. So yes, we can all do more, and my country, Latvia, is an example that you don't have to be huge or extremely wealthy to support Ukraine. We have to make sure that Ukraine wins the war, that Ukraine stops Russia, because otherwise Russia will not stop and the problem will only get worse.
In the spring, major exercises are planned in the Baltic countries as well as in Germany and Poland. Steadfast Defender, which will include up to 700 air combat missions, drills of 50 ships, more than 40,000 military personnel will practice the scenario of repelling Russian aggression against one of the alliance members. It is planned to conduct such exercises twice a year. Reported by Christina Dombrovska, Pavlo Štelmach, UATV News.